The Boy with the Basket of Fruit is arguably Caravaggio's first masterpiece. The first picture where Caravaggio looks like Caravaggio. It's here where we recognize the artist that he would become, really for the first time. Caravaggio comes along at a moment where art had, for a generation, been very self-conscious, very stylized, very artificial. And he really returned to a style based in naturalism, based in reality, based in the study of the world. But I think Caravaggio's great invention was also that he made art about making art. So we start as viewers by looking at that fruit. It's very realistically painted in the sense that it's not perfect. We have these spots on the apples, the leaves look like they have insect damage, the pomegranate and the figs are so ripe they're bursting. And then it's held by this boy, this youth. We see how he casts a shadow on the wall, but it's not a distinguished space. And so we step back and we think, what is Caravaggio doing here? And he's giving us, I think, not a god or an allegory, but a boy posing for a painting of a god or an allegory. And that's the thing that makes Caravaggio so special, that shattering of the illusion. One of the things we're trying to do in the exhibition is give a context for Caravaggio, show where he came from, perhaps the better to understand how revolutionary his painting was. This is a surprising and strange picture for most viewers. Arcimboldo was very famous in his day, and this was a famous picture. It shows, as it's called, the four seasons in one head. And while it's hard to look at this and understand a direct connection to Caravaggio, imagine him coming of age at the time when this was a sensation. This is a new genre of painting. You can understand how he makes that leap of questioning what art can be and just takes that as a point of inspiration and goes in other directions later in his career. These two drawings are by Simone Perozzano, Caravaggio's master in Milan, the person chosen to train the teenaged artist, and then Giuseppe Cesare, in whose workshop Caravaggio painted The Boy with the Basket of Fruit. He would have been trained to work like both of these painters work, devising everything first with drawings. However, famously, he does not make drawings before he starts his paintings. He goes directly to the canvas. And that immediacy of his painting seems to arise from that. Caravaggio becomes famous pretty quickly. And everyone who comes to Rome as aspiring painters, they're all aware of his invention. And I think you see that in this study by Rutilio Manetti. It's a study for a monk in ecstasy. But when you look at this drawing, it seems utterly clear that it's a model dressed as a monk, asleep in the studio against this pile of books. And the immediacy of the sketch, I think, could be partly what we call the Caravaggio effect. Sometimes Caravaggio's influence is much more obvious than it might be in some of the drawings, because here's a painting, a pure still life. It's by an artist named Cavarozzi. Cavarozzi came of age after Caravaggio had left Rome, and yet even 15 years later, patrons still want works in this style, and Cavarozzi takes that still life, clearly inspired by Caravaggio, with the overripe fig, the splitting pomegranate, and the slightly curling leaves, and he sort of supersizes it. It's as if he's trying to out-Caravaggio to make it even more present. What I love about The Boy with the Basket of Fruit is the ambiguity of it. That challenge that it represents. What was he trying to do? And did people recognize it at the time? At the Morgan, we tell stories about artists, about the work of creation. And so here in one room where you can take it all in at once, it just seemed the perfect opportunity to exhibit the Caravaggio, but also to do something maybe a little bit different, to put Caravaggio in a broader context of precedents and followers.